This is a place.
This is the place?
This is a place. We want to talk about. This is a place.
Welcome to This Is a Place podcast. I'm Nathan, and with me, as always, is a guy who's saving up his money to open up a pet store, Brandon.
I got worms.
Pardon me?
I got worms. That's what I'm gonna call it.
Your pet store?
Yeah.
Oh,
So we're gonna specialize in worm farms.
kind of like ant farms, but for
Yeah.
worms.
Worm farms.
Gotcha. So, well, Brandon, how's life going for you?
Well, here we are still in quarantine. It's been good. I mean, I'm still working, staying busy. What about you? Are you and your family surviving?
We're just living the quarantine dream of doing a lot of nothing.
Is your daughter still asking you what you guys are gonna do tomorrow?
She has stopped that for the time being. Now she's turned into what game are we going to play today? So I think she's finally figured out after how long I think we're about a month into this, aren't we? Or at least I saw today that we're the month anniversary of the famous earthquake we had.
Oh yeah.
So earthquake and quarantine. So then we've had a couple thousand aftershocks since. So it's been a wild couple months. So for me, it's funny because the kids keep asking me how this quarantine thing works and earthquakes and stuff, but everything is the first time for me. So first time for them. So they're experiencing stuff I've never experienced in my life, and we're all experiencing it together as a family. So, but yeah, life's good. It's just nice that it's warm outside. Glad the quarantine's going on during the spring months rather than the winter, because then at least you can go outside and walk around and get fresh air instead of feeling like you are trapped inside the house at all times. There's only so much Netflix you can handle, right?
Hey, but at least we've been gifted the wonderful thing that is the Tiger King.
The Tiger King. Have you seen that yet?
Yeah, I just finished it last night. I haven't watched the behind the scenes, whatever that was. But
Joe McHale?
Yeah.
The webinar or the Zoom meeting he had with everybody, the FaceTime or what do you want to call it? Yeah.
But we did complete the full, the canon of the Tiger King.
Well, I just it took. I mean, everybody was talking about it. The media, everybody's talking about the Tiger King, and then we have a good friend who's from the South, and she just kept talking about it. So my wife and I tried like 4 or 5 times to watch the first 2 episodes. And I'm just like, oh my goodness, this thing is just so boring. Like I just couldn't do it. And then finally our friend from the South said, well, you got to go wait till like episode 3. I'm like, oh, okay. So after episode 3, did you have the same experience?
Yes,
after episode 3, I'm like, okay, now this is getting interesting. Like they could have cut out, in my opinion, or done the first 2 episodes in 1 episode. And then it got interesting. It just basically turned into a 4-hour Dateline.
It leads up to Carol and everything else.
Carol Baskin, was that her name?
Carol Baskin.
So, but yeah, it was, I mean, not going to lie, it was super interesting. And you just sit there every episode, you're like, could it get any crazier? Like, you almost wonder if they made this stuff up, but like, because of he was already doing like a YouTube show, right? That it's not made up. This is like really what happened, This
is real life.
Yeah, this is real life. If you were, not to ruin it for anybody who hasn't seen it, but the Tiger King's in jail, but I could just imagine his first little while in jail, him telling his story, and people were like, huh? You're making this crap up.
Do you think they have Netflix in jail?
I've heard, I mean, just from the media stuff or Facebook posts, that I believe he thinks he's on top of the world now, and he keeps like saying that he needs to get to a computer so he can talk to his fans. Like it's just kind of ironic that he's spent his whole life trying to be famous, and now he's famous, but he's in jail.
Oh man.
So I mean, it's really.
I did see though that Trump is considering a pardon, so we might get that chance.
Oh, we're just where'd you see that on TMZ or the National Enquirer at the grocery store that you can't go to?
Yeah, I didn't see the grocery store. I haven't been there. Donald Trump Jr. was talking about it, and he told his dad about it. He's like, "Oh, what happened? Is he innocent?" And he's like, "Well, I'll look into it." I think there's a lot of other more important things going on in the world right now, but it would be interesting to see where it went from there.
My guess is that he's gonna obviously appeal his case and try to get a retrial. I just realized the other day the TMZ guy is an attorney, right?
Oh.
The head TMZ guy, or the one
that.
who hosts the show. Which makes sense. I think he's on one of those judge shows. Like, is it People's Court? Like, he's the guy. Anyways, so Joe McHale, and you'll see when you watch that episode, he talks to the hitman. And the hitman basically says that he wants Joe to suffer, and that's why he kind of did it, was to make him suffer. And the TMZ guy's like, whoa, if I was like a defense attorney, I would totally jump on that and say that he was biased and wanted him in jail. You know what I mean? So
yeah, it was rigged.
Yeah, so he said, so they're like, well, maybe they'll use that in his appeal to say that he just wanted Joe to get back at Joe or stab Joe in the back. And who knows? You never know. But it might get to the point, too, where the jail doesn't want to hold him anymore because of how famous he is and people trying to sneak a peek at Joe.
Yeah.
And you wonder, too, like the zoo, all that crap, like it's probably the best thing that ever happened to him, you know, the people are going to want to go to the zoo now. Anyways, and we have to locally tie it. We have a Real player. I think he's a midfielder. I don't remember his name, but he did like a little, what do you call it? Skit. I don't know if it was a news show or something, but he was.
There's not much else to do right now.
No, but this was years ago, like 3 or 4 years ago. He was at Carol Baskin's zoo,
really
reserve, and he was playing soccer with a cat. So he'd kick a ball over the fence to the cat is what he did. So he's like, he says nobody knew about this cat rescue.
Was it Kyle Beckerman?
No, it was. That's a good question.
I'll have to look it up.
Player Carol Baskin. But anyways, he's like, I had no idea this a few years later that I was at a very famous place.
It was Luke Mulholland.
Yeah. Say sorry to all you Real fans out there, but I'm not that big of a Real fan. I do like the Real, but I don't know all the players' names.
We like them because they're here in Utah.
Yeah, just because they're Utah, and I just like sports. And right now, man, I don't know. I would watch the Ocho if we had anything going on right now. I would watch a ping pong tournament just to watch some sort of competitive sport if they had it.
I would like to hear Luke's take on it. In the article I was reading, doesn't say he shared his thoughts on the Tiger King, but I wonder if when he was around Carol Baskin, if he got that vibe that she, obviously she killed her husband. I wonder if he had the same feeling being there.
Well, I was just going to ask you. So, did she or did she not kill her husband?
She absolutely did.
One interesting thing about the whole Tiger King thing is, from what I recall, there's 6 episodes? As far as them kind of really focusing on the disappearance of her husband, it was only half an episode, right? And of all the crazy crap that happened, or just happened in the documentary, that's what everyone's talking about. I'm like, that's kind of weird. It's just kind of a briefly mentioned, even though Joe repeats over and over that she killed her husband, but that's the takeaway everyone has is Carol Baskin killed her husband. I'm like, not that Joe is a crazy dude.
It's because she killed her husband that led him to do what he did.
She had it out for him from the beginning, though, right?
Yeah.
But just killing her husband gave her the money to really go after him. But anyways, it's just interesting how there's not one. I don't know. Maybe there is. So if you're listening to this part of the podcast, you're still with us, and you think she didn't kill her husband, let us know. But because I don't know anybody so far, haven't heard anybody say that they don't believe that she killed her husband. So
to tie it back into Utah, though, I think one of the best things that's come out of this is that meme that you sent me with our Utah version of the Tiger King, which will lead us to a future episode indefinitely. And that's
Yeah,
Del Shanzi, if anyone remembers that guy.
yeah.
Maybe he'll even come on the show.
Yeah, if we can track him down, I'm sure he would. Who wouldn't want to? I mean, we do turn down a lot of people who want to be on our podcast. So,
Yes.
But it's just hard to pick and choose who to have as a guest on our show.
There's lots of options.
So,
just my 2 cents about Del Shanzi. That guy he did some dumb stuff, but not as dumb as the people we'll be talking about in today's episode.
So who's dumber? Del Shanzi?
I don't know. Who's dumber?
Or Joe King? Or Joe, what's his name? Not Joe King.
The Lion
Tiger King?
Joe Exotic.
Joe Exotic.
Yeah. So is it Del Shanzi? Who's dumb? Is it Del Shanzi or Joe Exotic? Which one's dumb and which one's dumber?
Dumb and Dumber. Well, they would make a great Dumb and Dumber cast for sure.
So our listeners, you might be wondering why the heck we're talking about Dumb and Dumber. I mean, this podcast is about places. It's about Utah places. Why in the world would we waste our time on something like this?
Because it's the #1 comedy of all time. Could possibly be one of the best movies, most perfectly made movies of all time.
It's so perfect.
Is that the reason why we're talking about it?
Yes, and we'll just leave it at that. No. The reason we're doing this is because a lot of people say 3/4. I'm gonna side with that, but maybe say like 85% of the movie is filmed here in the great state of Utah.
Utah. Which I had no idea until after I saw the movie. Did you know that going in, seeing the movie? Or did you realize after the movie?
You know, when I was a kid, when I first saw it, I don't think I understood how much of it was filmed. I thought the only spot where they had filmed here in Utah was in Park City, like the scene when they get to Aspen. That was the only thing I knew. After doing all this research and reading every article I could, watching every video, there's so much to digest here.
Right. Well, the movie came out in 1994. I was 14 years old. So I did think like, hey, that looks like the Salt Lake Airport. And this was before the big internet era. Uh-huh. Internet was still on its way. So search engines. So everything you would hear would be like folklore. Is that the word I'm looking for?
Yeah, just like
urban legends or rumors or whatever. So I knew like the airport scene was filmed in Utah, but I didn't have any idea that the rest of it basically was until the great thing of internet came out, and then you start realizing, oh my goodness.
Now everyone knows.
Everyone knows.
Best movie ever filmed in Utah. I mean, we'll cover some more as the podcast goes on, right? 'Cause there's no shortage of filming here.
Well, my first, I mean, it's definitely one of my most favorite movies. It's hard. I see a lot of movies. My wife is a movie junkie. She likes going to movies, and I never really was growing up, but I am now because I like to do things with my wife. So we go to a lot of movies, and there are a lot of movies that I go and see, and then 2 weeks later I can't remember even what the movie was about. But I can still remember it was 1994. It was probably January, February, over at the Sandy's Movies 9, which is now a Dollar Theater. I still remember going to that theater, watching Dumb and Dumber. I cried the whole movie, not because it was sad, but I couldn't stop laughing. I walked out of the movie theater, almost puked in the parking lot because we were still laughing about the movie. So it's one of those movies that I wish, like if I ever get hit in the head so hard that I just forget my long-term memory for a moment, that would be a great movie to rewatch again for the first time. So if you've never seen Dumb and Dumber, man, I feel sorry for you, but
it still holds up all these years later.
Still holds up, and I probably watch it minimum twice a year, maybe once a quarter. It's just, and quoting the movie, it's never stopped.
Yeah.
It's just.
I can attest to this. Anytime I've been with you, there's at least 1 to 2 quotes.
And we love it so much, in fact, that I have a men's softball team that I play with that we named our team Whoa Big Gulps. We made a logo with a drink, Big Gulp, and our shirt said Whoa Big Gulps. And we designed a shirt online first and went to one of those cheap companies online to print our T-shirts. And the company called us up and thought that they were such cool T-shirts that he thought we were printing them off so we could go resell them on the market. So because he thought they were so
illegal.
Cool. Which
was like
illegal, but we're like, no, it's literally, he didn't believe us that it was for a softball team because he thought it was so cool, our T-shirt. So we had to go to a guy who does it here locally to make our T-shirts. So
when we finish this episode, are you gonna provide a link to our listeners so they can go and purchase one of these T-shirts?
Yeah, that's a good thing. Yeah, make up some more for sure. So it's kind of funny to say, the Bash Brothers or whatever team against Whoa Big Gulps, huh? Anyways,
it's a good name. I mean, we had a good name for our basketball team. Not quite as good, but
yeah, it was hard to find. We could have done the Whoa Big Gulps, huh? We could have done. There's so many. There's so many.
Next season.
So many. Yes, next season. Well, if there ever will be a next season. They just canceled our spring softball for the county, and they haven't canceled. I play out another one in West Valley. That's not part of the county, and he's still holding on. So there may. What's the chance that we might actually play? 1 in a million? We're saying there's a chance.
Well, we didn't even get to finish our season, our basketball season, our
inaugural
season.
We did finish the season. Luckily, we finished the season. We just didn't finish the tournament.
Which we were going to win. So
we were
literally
we'll
go ahead and say that Bestbrook was the champion.
Because everything got shut down like a couple of days before the tournament started, right? So we were pretty close to finishing. Like if we could have gone another week before everything shut down, we at least would have had 1 week of the tournament. So it was just a 2-week tournament. So I'm just glad we got to play. So we got to play everybody. So we know how we matched up.
Yeah. We know what to expect next time.
Yeah. And just got to get this guy named Quinn Snyder to stop calling me. He keeps asking me to come play for some musical thing. I don't get it.
Good luck, man.
But I don't know why he's watching basketball if he wants me to do something with music. I don't get it. But jazz.
Well, hey, we should probably we may have some listeners that haven't seen this movie, and if you haven't, we definitely would recommend that you do. Kind of just a brief synopsis. So it's directed by Peter Farrelly. This was Peter Farrelly's first movie. The Farrelly brothers, if you've ever heard of them, they've done quite a few movies. But so this was
decent ones. Dumb and Dumber is by far the best.
For sure.
They did some good ones. So
they did that Green Book movie. I don't remember if that won Best Picture.
Green Book.
Yeah, the one about with Virgo. What's his name? Virgo Mortensen, and he's like the driver for the African American singer.
Oh, that just barely the last year or two, right?
Yeah, pretty recent.
Oh, but that's more of a serious type.
They started with the best comedy of all time, and then they had that kind of a movie. Very, very versatile.
They also did The Ringer. That's another one of my favorites.
Oh, that's a great movie as well.
The Ringer, Dumb and Dumber, Something About Mary is okay. Kingpin was okay. Stuck in You, I really liked. Shallow Hal.
Oh, Shallow Hal's a great movie. But what's cool is, was this the first? I don't know if this was the first movie for Jim Carrey. What started him out, but
no, he was. I'm pretty sure he did, or maybe I thought he did Pet Detective first.
Ventura.
Yeah.
Let's look. I'm gonna check real fast.
And I think the one that really put Jim Carrey on the map was The Mask. I still remember those days of Jim Carrey kind of getting things going. You might be right.
You're right. So Ace Ventura, The Mask, and then Dumb and Dumber.
But I mean,
The Mask
and
Dumb and Dumber
they were
came
all
out in
like
94.
within a year, right? He was just boom, he exploded.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, all 3 movies came out in 1994, and then Batman Forever 95. So, kind of went downhill from there. But
it's funny. Yeah,
he had a lot of good movies.
tangent for him, and maybe you can edit this part out, but it's just funny how he built his whole persona being like this funny guy, and then he's just like, I don't want to be known as a funny guy anymore. So he tried to get into serious acting, and now he's back to want to be the funny guy. It's come like full circle. So,
but I did really like Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind. That's a good one. It's more serious. It's the one with I think it's Kate Winslet. That one's a really trippy movie, but it's a good one.
Huh.
But
I don't know if I saw that one.
The other ones, it's like, yeah.
Well, Sonic the Hedgehog, his latest one, is top of the cake.
Is it good? I haven't seen it.
Well, my son is probably one of the biggest Sonic the Hedgehog fans you'll ever find here in Utah, at least. And he talked about that movie for the minute he announced it's coming out. He talked about it nonstop, and so he was disappointed when it got pushed back. And I'm so glad they released it before this pandemic, because that would have sucked to have it pushed back even further. So I was actually dreading going to see it, and actually opened up on Valentine's Day, the most romantic movie you can see on Valentine's Day. But actually, for what it is, it kept my attention, and I believe Jim Carrey. It was kind of old school Jim Carrey, like the Pet Detective type of comedy, you know.
Kind of I thought goofball.
He like knocked it out of the park, so he made the movie. So it made it very bearable. It was a good movie, and then you're like, oh, I'll watch the sequel. So, but speaking of Jim Carrey, did you know that Jeff Daniels' manager begged him to not do Dumb and Dumber? Said it was career suicide if he did.
Really?
Isn't that crazy to think?
Well, because did Jeff Daniels? I can't think of a lot of movies he's in. So did that ring true?
No, did not kill his career. He was already a decent actor. I mean, he was in a lot of stuff. A lot of. I looked up.
Yeah, he's in quite a few movies.
But so everybody knew who he was. I didn't know who he was because he's not in the type of movies that I watch. But to me,
seems like he's been in a lot of serious movies. So for him to do a movie like this, it was kind of out of his comfort zone. But he did a great job.
Yeah, but people were begging him, like, do not do this movie. And it makes sense, you know. You got, I mean, Jim Carrey was on In Living Color, and he was always just the goofball, right? So you could see how they thought he's just going to go make this stupid movie, and it's going to kill his career. But if anything,
the best
put him on the map about 4 inches.
Anyway, back to the synopsis. So what the whole premise of the movie is, Jim Carrey, his name is Lloyd Christmas. He finds he's a limo driver, drives the lady to the airport. She leaves her briefcase at the airport. And basically the whole movie is him and Harry Dunn, them going across from Rhode Island to Aspen, Colorado to return this lady's briefcase, all while not realizing this briefcase is actually full of tons and tons of money, because it was like a ransom money so that the lady could get her husband back. Just goes to show how truly clueless these guys were.
So you just follow them traveling across the country.
But really, they're only traveling like 30 minutes. It's like a 30-minute drive,
or
considering where they filmed.
Or 4 to 5 inches on the map.
Yeah, 4 to 5 inches.
Yes, but
so we kind of went back and forth talking about how we were gonna do this, but what I kind of put together is there's at least 16 locations here in Utah where they filmed for Dumb and Dumber. Do you want to go over the places with me?
In order they appear in the movie?
Yeah, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Opening scene. Okay. So one of the videos we watched in preparing for this great one, so you can see someone go through all the places, was a guy named Adam the Woo, and he talked about this scene where they put up this the street sign for the movie, and then they zoom in, and things have changed a lot around the Salt Lake area where this was filmed, but you can kind of still see like a transformer box, a building, some things that are the same, to know that this spot where the movie begins actually was in downtown Salt Lake.
Yeah, it was like 5th or 6th South. Like I recognize the building, I just can't remember which South it's on.
It's 200 West and 700 South.
Yeah, 700. Yep.
Lloyd's pulls up to the lady from New Jersey. Actually, she's from ends up being
Austria.
from Austria, right?
Put another shrimp on the barbie.
So I didn't know where that phrase came from. I was curious, so I looked up that as well. Have you seen Crocodile Dundee?
That's what I was actually just about to say. Is that from Crocodile Dundee? But
I don't
I
know if it's
thought
from
they already said
Crocodile
it.
Dundee, but it's the actor who did a like an ad campaign for Australia.
Paul Hogan.
Paul Hogan, yeah. And everybody, if you say that to someone from Australia, they're gonna slap you because they hate hearing that because it was, I don't know, put them on the map for the wrong reason, and everybody's saying, "Oh, let's put a shrimp on the barbie," which is exactly what Lloyd says. Anyway, so what comes next? What happens after the limo scene?
Limousine. Then the next thing we are meeting Mr. Jeff Daniels, right?
Yeah. So Harry is a groomer of some sort, and he's turned his whole
Life savings.
yeah, his entire life savings into an '84 sheepdog.
Called shaggin' wagon. Is what they
It's a
says.
shaggin' wagon, exactly. So we get scenes of him driving around the city with these dogs in his back. He arrives at, it used to be a hotel. It used to be, I think, they said a Radisson, but now it's called the Palmer Court, low income housing. But that's where he meets this lady who, who then sees how he's prepared the dogs for this dog show that they're supposed to be having.
But he also stops off to get them all food because he doesn't want them to go to a show on an empty stomach.
Right.
Yes.
Okay, so after that, we go to the airport, which is the world famous Salt Lake City International Airport.
He drops.
Oh,
love of his life.
no! We have to
No?
go back because that's
Go
not
back?
the first. That's not the first part. So Lloyd goes and picks up Mary. The
I thought
lady
you were
he's
talking about
given
the
a ride
airport
to.
scene. Okay. Yes.
So yeah,
And-
this is the next one.
And he picks her up at the Lakai. It's not necessarily Lakai. It's like the house right
Yeah, it's
next
like
door.
a private spot behind Lakai.
Right.
So
Where there's
this nice big looking
mansion.
really nice mansion thing that we can't go and see.
Right.
Yeah, so he picks her up there, and then from there they go to the airport.
Okay. Yes.
Sorry.
That's correct. So he goes and picks up the love of his life and figures, he finds out he has the love at first sight, right?
Yeah. We can't confirm this. We couldn't find any hard data that said this was the case, but as you look behind her and as he's driving, like the scenes behind look like it's in like Provo or Orem or somewhere.
Lots of Provo. I actually think the dog, when Harry is driving the van and he kind of jumps, it might be Salt Lake, but to me it looks a lot like Provo as well. But yeah, like the background, that's what's kind of cool about the movie, because it looks to me, instead of them just using what's the word I'm looking for, like
it's like stock
footage, like they actually drove around Utah and filmed a lot of places. So
it could be when he's driving around that it is in Utah, but as they're leaving to go to Aspen, it looks like that they actually used footage
from Rhode Island.
Rhode Island, yeah.
So yeah, so it looks like it's kind of fun if you watch the car driving, just the background. You'll notice a lot of Utah in the background, but it jumps from city. It's not like
sequential.
Yeah, sequential. But still, I mean, you don't need to be, and nobody really pays attention to that stuff anyways.
We do, because
we do now, and after you watch the show 100 times, you start to notice little different things every time you watch it, right? Pick up on new things. So, yeah. So the airport, right?
Airport, yeah. He's dropping her off, and you can see things have changed a little bit at the airport now, and it's going to change even more as they're building the new one, if that's still going on with everything. But you can kind of get to where you see the background, and there's like a bridge where he's dropping her off at the just there at the airport.
To me, it looks like Terminal 1, which is now like JetBlue and Southwest. But
yeah, the video we watched, he does go to exactly where it was and gets the shot the best he could. But I don't know exactly where that was at.
But regardless, it's the Salt Lake City airport for sure.
It's a place where we all been, and we hate goodbyes.
We hate goodbyes. Yeah, another quote that I use quite often. My wife is sick of it.
Yeah. So he bids his farewell to Mary as he's driving. He can see her. He's driving, she's walking, and this is where he sees her put down her briefcase. He's like, "Goodbye, my love," and then he crashes. And then that leads to him saying, "Oh my gosh, she's leaving her briefcase." He runs to the airport. A good chance that this was filmed also in the Salt Lake City airport, but again, not a confirmation. But he runs up the escalator to try and make it in time.
I'm pretty confident Salt Lake City.
Oh, yeah?
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Salt Lake City, and even the gate was definitely Salt Lake City. Is that what you're talking about? Also.
Yeah.
When he falls off. Yeah.
He fell off the jetway.
And I can't remember who. I mean, living here in Utah, everybody talks about because you do extra work, right? But I don't remember who it was. But I remember somebody saying that it was their relative who was the gate worker for that. So I don't remember who. I just remember somebody saying that. I'm like, whoa, that's pretty cool. That you got to be Dumb and Dumber. And then a few other people told me that they were in the extras for another couple scenes. But anyway,
I'll have to go back there before so I can run up the escalator, and maybe I'll meet a sister missionary and be like, "Move it or lose it, sister."
I've always wanted to do that.
That'll get us kicked out for sure.
Yes, for sure. Yeah. Yes.
So
but that was back in the day too. I mean, 94 was pre 9/11, so you could go all the way to the gate without a ticket. So, do you remember those days?
Nope.
You didn't go to the airport that often, huh? Well, why do you go to the airport? Because you're flying somewhere? If you're a family member or whatever was going on a flight, you could go all the way to the gate with them, and that's where you said goodbye. Or when they're coming off of the plane, you saw them come out from the gate. So
there's a good chance I took a flight before 9/11, but I was in 3rd grade when 9/11 happened, so
dang.
Even if I did, I can't remember what the airport was like before, but it obviously changed tremendously since then.
Yes, for sure.
Okay, so next we go to, this is probably one we definitely have to check out, is their apartment.
Yeah. So
have you been there before?
Tangent Store, yes. So my office for the company that we have right now, when I started doing stuff with them, I was down in Lehigh. And then, I mean, that was probably 7, 8, 9 years ago. And about 2 years of there, we moved our office to downtown Salt Lake, about 3rd South and 3rd East. And this is when I started realizing that Dumb and Dumber was filmed a lot in Utah, more than just the airport scene. Because
you worked right there.
Yeah, so we're on 3rd South and 3rd East was our building. It was 261 East.
And this is 228 South and 300 East.
But yeah, so my whole point is one day we're just like walking around and go to lunch, and we walked around 2nd East and then went up 2nd South and then came back around 3rd East. And we're walking down 3rd East towards 3rd South, and I turn and look, and I'm like, at this apartment building, and I'm like, oh my gosh, because I've seen the movie how many times? Maybe 100 in my lifetime. Uh-huh. I'm like, this looks exactly like the Dumb and Dumber apartments. How cool is that? And I went into, and there's a thing called a Google.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, oh my gosh, that is so like it's almost like the parking lot. The end of our parking lot and like 2 buildings over was the Dumb and Dumber apartment. So I was so excited after the fact that we already found the place to set up shop that we were literally feet away from the Dumb and Dumber apartments. And then doing more research on the Google, and you're probably going to talk about it too, the next scene is him with the old lady on the cart, right?
Yes. So we
And
need to back up. We need to back up for a second.
back up.
So I know that the listeners will be upset that we've kind of broke format because usually every episode we start with some reviews.
Ooh.
If you remember, so we still got the reviews.
You got reviews of the apartment complex?
Yes, of course.
Oh.
So we've got the Smith Apartments, is what they're called now. 3.8 stars on Google.
Wow.
Total of 6 ratings. Where it gets interesting is there's only 2 comments about the apartments. You want to know what they say? Grant says, "We got no food. We have no jobs. Our pets' heads are falling off." And another
Classic.
person, Weston, says in similar fashion, "If you've got no foods, no food, no jobs, or if your pets' heads are falling off, this is a great apartment to live in." So,
Huh. I wonder if after the movie came out, if they just had like a waiting list of people wanting to rent there just to say they lived in the Dumb and Dumber apartments. So,
they're a pretty cool
um,
looking place. They got those nice little planter boxes, that weird thing in the middle, the
yeah, it
balconies.
looks a lot like the movie. I mean,
It
there's
looks exactly the same, pretty much.
basically the same, yeah, except for a little bit of landscaping, right? But the
Uh
building
huh.
itself is like that's what I was saying when I was walking by. I'm like, this is like a replica. Like I didn't know it was the building. I was like, this is so cool. This is like the Dumb and Dumber apartments. Turns out it
So
was.
the question is, if you go into an apartment, can you go into their actual apartment? The
No,
answer
I've never done
the
that.
answer is
So
no. The answer is no.
no,
So for most
because they
movies,
filmed that in
right?
the soundstage, right?
Exactly. Yeah. Do you know where the soundstage is?
It was Osmond Studio.
Yeah, Osmond Studios, which is now the Cirque Lounge in Orem. So our theory that there was a lot of things filmed, like the driving filmed in Orem, it probably rings true because a lot of um, the other little scenes in the movie that aren't a set place that you can like identify were filmed in the soundstage.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, that's just Hollywood, right? Yeah, kind of like High School Musical. I think a lot of people are just shocked to find out that it wasn't all filmed at East High School.
Well, a lot of it was.
A lot of it was, but there was also a lot of my understanding is a lot of it was filmed as well at Murray High School, and
Oh yeah.
so. But we can do a whole podcast on that one because Utah, right?
And I'm in it, so
Yeah.
I got some insight. I'm actually in 2 Utah movies, but we'll talk about that later.
Stay tuned.
So back to what you were going with, the scene where he gets gets robbed by a sweet old lady.
Yeah. So I was gonna say, so my office, 261 East, 300 South, the building that he walks in front of after going shopping is 300 South, 300 East. So it's literally next door. So I used to tell people that my claim to fame is for my office is I'm on the Dumb and Dumber corner. I work on Third South and Third South and Third East, the Dumb and Dumber corner. So it was a very sad day when we moved our office down the street to the U.S. Bank building to be in the tall tower, just because it was so fun just to say that.
You can
Literally right
still
there.
own it. You can still claim it. You worked right there.
I worked right there, and it's hard to not see that restaurant and think of Dumb and Dumber.
Curtain Fish and Oyster is what it is now, right?
Yeah, and it's not bad. Been there
Used to
a
be
handful of
antique
times.
store.
It was when we first moved in, though. It was empty for forever. It wasn't being used. So I think that oyster bar has only been open for a few years. So and they even kind of uh, remodeled it a little bit so it doesn't look. Yeah, you could still see some of the white paint that was on the building that you can see in the background of Dumb and Dumber, and I think they basically blasted that off. So it's hard to tell that it's that.
Well, this place is
corner.
real high class. It's a whole $3 signs, so it's not cheap.
Yeah. I mean, you're looking. It's about $15 a plate to eat there, so it's not horrible, but it's still, it's kind of it's an oyster bar, what you would think it would be. So, and it's kind of got that vintage building look, with the bricks and downtown landscape. So
I tried to go through and find a Dumb and Dumber related review, and out of the 909, I didn't find
Nobody
anything.
said anything.
No, maybe we should
We
go
should.
in.
Well, I've
Put
been
on our
there, so
own.
I could totally write a review, and say something to the fact that it was great till I got robbed by a little lady on a cart
Yeah.
outside. I didn't even see it coming.
It's true what they say. Senior citizens, although slow and dangerous behind the wheel, can still serve a purpose.
What does he
So-
say? Cripes when he drops his wallet.
Cripes.
So
Well, after he gets robbed, back to the apartment. That's where we find out that their pets' heads are falling off because they're so poor.
and they owe the gas man.
Yeah. But then they decide that they're gonna, do what they can to
They're gonna head to California,
head to California, exactly.
where beer flows like wine.
And where the beautiful women instinctively flock like the salmon of Capistrano.
Talk about a place called Aspen.
Aspen. So,
Yeah.
yeah, as they embark, they're driving across country. Most scenes, like I said, Rhode Island, but so these next scenes here, they go to the diner scene, right? Unfortunately, doesn't take place in Utah. We're introduced to sea bass,
Mm-hmm.
who will make a comeback later in the film.
And they had your favorite soup.
The soup du jour.
Yeah.
That sounds good. I think I'll have some of that.
Now I want some of that.
I don't know if I've had soup du jour. I don't know if I've ever had soup du jour before.
No.
What is it?
Soup of the day.
Man, you really wimped out, man.
You see that guy? He honked my booger, man.
They get pulled over. Okay, so I've always quoted this part, but I can't grasp the understanding when the cop calls him a pumpkin pie haircutted freak. What is a pumpkin pie haircut?
Pumpkin pie?
Yeah.
I'm guessing the bowl cut. They look like a
Why
pumpkin.
is that a pumpkin pie?
Because maybe when you cut to get the pumpkin and you pull the stem out, it kind of looks jaggedy. I don't know. That's my guess. Pumpkin pie haircut.
So as they're driving, we get another scene from Utah in the dream sequence. When Lloyd's driving, he imagines his wonderful life upon meeting back up with Mary.
Has a little daydream at night, right?
Yeah. So he goes to what in his mind would be her house, which is actually Lakai, a very classy restaurant in your neck of the woods in Sandy.
Yeah, definitely. It's close to at least my junior high or my middle school where I went. Almost
Now,
the backyard.
So we recently did the training table episode. I think the people that were trying to do that one review talking about the escargot, I think they're actually talking about Lakai because it looks like they've got some yummy looking moose. I know they've got escargot.
I was going to say, there's probably one place you can find the escargot, right?
Yeah.
Outside the training table.
You been there before?
I've been to Lakai. Like, I've been to the grounds and I've been in the Lakai restaurant, but I've never had food there. I've just been, like, basically on a tour. It's a really cool place.
Well, you know what we've signed up for here? We're going to have to go and have a meal at Lakai one of these days.
Absolutely.
Once we start making a lot of money, though, because this is a whole $4 signs.
Yeah, that one I think is about $50 a plate, is my understanding, maybe even more. But that's probably your entry to get in.
Yeah. Well, that's an iconic. You look at the place; it still looks exactly like it did when he goes and meets up, and the doves fly. So other scenes in that same sequence, the fireplace scene that's also up inside Lakai. Before the fireplace scene, they're eating in a restaurant, and it's rumored that this actually took place in the Devereaux mansion, which will come in later in the film as an outside scene from the movie. So I couldn't find any concrete evidence on that, but sounds like also filmed in Salt Lake when he rips that guy's heart out and sticks it in a doggy bag.
Is that you think that's
Not Lakai, but the Devereaux Mansion.
We better find out for sure.
The rumor is, though, the Devereaux Mansion is haunted, which leads me to ask the question, is it haunted from the ghost of that chef?
Ooh.
Since he died there? I don't know.
Good point.
That'll be one of our Halloween episodes.
Yeah, now I want to do an episode on that.
Exactly. The next scene we get is at a hotel, right?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's second honeymoon hotel is what it's called. So here we find out about Freda Fletcher.
What's the matter, Hare? Some little Philly break your heart? No, it's a girl.
So in this spot, we see one of the bad guys in the movie punches someone through the glass of the phone booth. That's filmed at the motel. When we actually get to them in the hot tub, the heart-shaped hot tub. That's again at the Osmond Studios in Orem. I looked at the motel reviews and unfortunately couldn't find anything related to
Dumb and Dumber.
Dumb and Dumber, but I did find a review that I found worth sharing anyway. So Rebecca said, "This was the perfect place for my husband to completely destroy the remains of our once incredible marriage."
Well, in the movie, you like rent the place by the hour, so
No surprise there.
Makes sense.
But she still gave it 5 stars.
Oh,
Not a motel I'm going to be staying at anytime soon.
well, I'm going to now. No, I do. Like, now that I know that's there, I definitely want to take a trip up there. It'd be fun to stay the night there.
So I don't want to go into the full details of it, but we're introduced to interesting rules for tag.
Did you ever do that then? Do the Dumb and Dumber tag?
I don't even know where to start with that. They're talking a million miles a minute. I couldn't keep up. I just know you can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp.
Lloyd, you can't triple stamp. Oh,
this is probably one of my favorites because you get in this scene, you're getting the most annoying sound in the world. We get some great song a cappella from Harry and Lloyd. So after picking up the bad guy, they end up at Dante's Inferno, a restaurant.
Is that also up in Heber?
That's in Ogden, actually.
Ogden.
So that is currently...
And the rumor is that they didn't use the sound studio, but they actually used the restaurant as well for the filming, right?
Mm-hmm. And it's not a rest. Maybe it was a restaurant at some point, but right now it's the American Legion Post number 9. So great people, American Legion.
Just to hang out.
So who knows if they actually filmed inside? Not even the crew could verify if that was the case or not. So I guess we'll never know.
Joe Daniels could tell us probably. I'll give him a call tomorrow.
Okay. We got also the gas station where Harry sets himself on fire. That used to be a gas station, but now it's some kind of
Check City, right? Or Check
barn called a Barney Trucking. It's actually in West Valley.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I skipped ahead.
Yeah, you're skipping ahead. Slow down.
Whoa.
What I was thinking about is that had to be a pretty dangerous stunt, like setting a fire in a gas station. But which leads me to believe that maybe this was a setup that actually wasn't a gas station, and it isn't now. So who knows? All right, so we get a little bit further. We get to your favorite scene.
Yes.
What do you find out about the 7-Eleven?
So I mean that's been at least the legends I've heard that it wasn't here in Utah that the 7-Eleven location, but turns out it's up in Ogden.
It's a Len Nation now.
But that guy that did the YouTube video that you talk about, he made a very, like he even says in the video that there's always been some controversy on where it was actually filmed, and I think he nailed it. He does a very good like side-by-side comparison, and the building in the background. It'd just be very strange to have a similar or building in the background of another 7-Eleven somewhere else. So it's cool to know. Another place I need to go visit, and I can't go in and buy a big gulp, but I definitely
you can take a big gulp in there.
Take a big gulp with me and take a picture. Or I should get my softball team together in our shirts and go to that location and take a team picture. Yes, awesome. for picture day next year.
I was happy to see that they did have a lot of throwbacks to Dumb and Dumber in the reviews for this location still. So a lot of people confirming that this is actually where it happened.
And I would definitely agree with them.
Yeah.
After seeing the evidence.
Exactly. So this part is, I've found very, very sparse information about it, but it's when they're actually at a point, Lloyd's driving and Harry falls asleep, and Lloyd ends up taking them completely the wrong way to Nebraska. So actually not filmed in Nebraska, but filmed here in West Jordan.
Yeah, isn't it out by where the corridor is now?
Hmm? So it's
highway.
It's that place where everyone drives as they contemplate if they're going to lie at the dump and say if they live in West Jordan or not.
Oh yeah.
Like, if you ever gone to the dump before, they always ask you where you're bringing the stuff from, right? So
don't usually go to that dump. To be honest, it's weird. I usually go to the one out by the airport, but
oh,
if I ever do go, I don't go. I go maybe once every 10 years, but.
Well, they were very strategic in their filming because you can tell they're always filming on one side of the street to not show that there's actually mountains on the other, like right up against you on the other side, right?
Right.
They got away with filming the one side, but actually, yeah, we know there's mountains behind them.
I'm going to have to try out there and see if I can find the spot.
Okay, so eventually they get on the right track. They sell Harry's shaggin' wagon for the little moped that they drive into then Park City.
You mean Aspen?
Aspen. My bad. As I mentioned, this was the scene where when they're walking down the street, very clearly Park City, and they're checking the people out. Because wow, he must work out. I distinctively remember seeing that part and my dad telling me that was actually filmed in Park City. So
that's really?
That's when I learned that it was actually there. So very cool. A lot of the rest of the movie, lots of soundstage stuff. Then again, at the Osmond Studios, the hotel room that they stay in, it was modeled after actually a hotel in Utah. I can't remember exactly where, but so that was filmed there. But a lot of these scenes as well, like showing the outside of the hotel, was actually the hotel from the movie The Shining.
Oh, really?
Yeah, in Colorado.
I haven't really seen The Shining. I've seen the sequel that they just had come out a few months ago, but I haven't seen The Shining, the original. It's on my to-do list. But yeah. I wonder if I'll recognize anything from Dumb and Dumber.
Just that spot. It's funny that they put in all that effort to go to Colorado for just like these little shots. I mean, I think they could have found other places to shoot here that would have been a nice hotel look.
Would have worked as well.
So they realized that they had all this money. They get a nice hotel. They get all this fancy stuff, fancy suits, fancy cars. And the next scene we have is them in their fancy suits. They pull up to, as mentioned earlier, the Devereaux Mansion. That carriage scene when they're first going inside.
Which is literally across the street from the Vivint Arena, where the Utah Jazz plays. So it's hard to not go to a Jazz game and not think of Dumb and Dumber, right? Because you always bumped into the mansion or see it.
All these things I didn't realize until I did all this research, but now, yeah.
Oh, really?
I'm not gonna be able to look past it.
Oh, I always do. And then you're probably getting there. The party was filmed at the Union Pacific. You ever been inside there?
Yeah, so I actually went to a wedding inside there.
Didn't realize. Did you? Oh, you didn't realize? I was like, was it hard not to quote Dumb and Dumber the whole time?
No, but now as I'm looking back, I'm realizing how big of a missed opportunity it was that the couple didn't dress like them. Like, how awesome would that have been?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
I want a do-over.
Yeah, for
I want
sure.
to renew my vows there or something.
Renew your vows there at Union Pacific. They dressed that place up really nice because it's a pretty, like, there's nothing extra there. It's
It looks like a
just a
bus
room.
station, right?
Yeah.
Or a train station.
But they made it like they put the curtain. They made it look like there's a bar there. They did some good stuff. So it was for the Aspen Preservation Society. So good work, man. All the work that they do to make these movies just fully immerse us. So the following scenes when Harry goes on a date with Mary, all of that is filmed in Colorado. So great
the
stuff
ski
there.
resort's in Colorado, right?
Yeah, the ski resort, the bar that Lloyd is waiting for Mary in. That's all actually Colorado.
Thought she was a raging alcoholic.
Yeah, they're actually
The
supposed
man
to
landed
meet
on the
at 10
moon.
p.m. And all this time, I've been going through such pain and personal anguish.
Such hell.
Hey, Harry, old buddy, old pal.
Wait a minute.
1/2 teaspoon for fast, effective relief.
Oh man, yeah, that's a tough scene to watch.
So I don't know where the next that scene takes place. The bathroom scene.
Yeah, was it really inside? Because they show. I mean, the house is up in Park City, right? So did they actually film inside the house? I don't know.
Yeah, probably not. But who knows?
Who knows?
I will say about that scene that is one of my worst nightmares. I did have a moment. I won't get too graphic, but there was a time when I was feeling very adventurous with this Mexican family, and I told them to give me something really, really hot. So they did, because Mexicans eat a lot of hot stuff, and they gave me this pepper that I bit. One bite, I was like, "Oh, this is fine," but that thing, man, it shot through me so fast, and I felt like Harry going into that bathroom in that scene. It was luckily the toilet functioned, unlike what happened for him. But
well, yeah. Mine, if I can get this through quick, was I went down to San Diego with a friend and met up with in high school. So this was like '97, so only like 3 years after Dumb and Dumber came out, and we went to San Diego and met up with my girlfriend at the time. Her family was down there on vacation. Met up with them. Went to Tijuana. On the way down to Tijuana, we stopped at a gas station. And you should never buy a hamburger from a gas station. And at the time, they had a Mountain Dew. It was called a Big Slam, which is like Shaq, like Shaq size. I think Shaq was the endorsement guy. So I had a Mountain Dew and a crappy hamburger. We got to Tijuana. You had to pay $1 to go in the bathroom. And my girlfriend's dad's like, "Anybody gonna go to the bathroom?" I'm like, "No, I'm fine." We got on the bus to head over to Tijuana, and then like we're just sitting there forever. It seemed like, and then all of a sudden, the stomach starts just like in Dumb and Dumber, right? I'm like, "Whoa, maybe we're leaving soon." And it's like it felt like we weren't leaving. We were waiting. And I finally told her, "You know what? I need to go to the bathroom, so I'll catch the next bus." And as soon as I stood up to go, the guy shuts the door and we start taking off. And I'm like, "Oh my goodness!"
No!
And it hurt so bad. And we were the only ones on the bus, just our group. And once you go to the border, he can't stop the bus until he makes it to
through customs and
bus.
Everything.
Yeah, customs to the bus station or whatever the you want to call it. So it's about 2 miles into town, so it's not like far. But it hurt so bad. I started pacing the bus, and my girlfriend's mom, if I remember, she was about to cry for me because she felt so bad. And I finally just said, I have to go. Like, I'm going to go on the bus. Bus driver starts yelling, "No, go on bus. No, go on bus." He was flying around the corner as fast as he could go. And then we finally get to the bus stop, and I get off the bus, and it stops a little bit, and I'm like, and then it just kicked in again, just like Dumb and Dumber. The stomach starts growling. Oh, man. And there's a janitor sweeping up crap, and all I can remember from high school Spanish was "Donde está el baño?" And I'm like, "Donde está el baño? Baño?" And he's like, "Oh, follow me." And he shows me to the bathroom, and you had to pay $1, but it had like the gate that you have like a theme park where it just that rotating bars, So it's not like it could keep you out of the bathroom, But I did a Pete Rose. You know who Pete Rose is? He did a head first slide. So when you slide head first, I did a Pete Rose under that thing because I had to just go, and then ran in the bathroom, and it, it was probably equivalent to what Harry did. That bathroom scene,
like holding as you're.
Yeah, it was bad, and then you could hear the janitor, talking to people outside the bathroom, going, "Gringo have problems." Ha!
He had a cheeseburger at a gas station.
He didn't know what I had. He just knew I had it. I mean, it was a miserable rest of the afternoon. It just hit me hard, but yeah, that was definitely my biggest Harry moment. So unfortunately,
we've all
like Harry hid
moment.
it from everybody what was going on. I didn't have a chance to hide my problem. Everybody knew. So whenever I talk to my friend, I'm pretty good friends with the guy that I went down to San Diego with. He brings that up quite often. Like, remember we went to Tijuana? So
I think a good deleted scene or like an end scene for this movie would have been somebody finding what happened. I mean, everything else kind of goes crazy from there, but we never see, did he end up getting the toilet flushed? Someone had to go in there and discover what he did.
This is true. That's a good point. Yeah. The funny
But
thing
anyway,
is,
he ends up getting out of there somehow, and then we come
after
to
he's done shaving.
Yeah, after he's done shaving, and this was all set up from Lloyd, putting the X-Lax in his drink, and he shows up and tells Mary, "Hey, I've got your briefcase. Do you want to come back to the hotel and get it?" So they go back, and this is where things get real crazy with the people looking for the briefcase. This Nicholas Andre fellow, whose house we see, like you mentioned earlier in the movie, he's got them on the bed, and then Harry jumps in and saves the day. And
your name is Harry, right?
Oh yeah.
uh,
What's going on, Harry?
I didn't get a gun. Did you get a gun?
What if he shot you in the face? Yeah. What if they shot me in the face? That was a risk we are willing to take.
And I use that quote with my kids all the time. Like my boy says, "What if I get hurt?" And I'm like, "That's a risk I'm willing to take." Do we know? Did they say when the girls on the bus stopped? Did they ever say where that's at?
I could never find anything for it.
That's got to be Utah.
It looks like Utah. Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I imagine it would be somewhere near
Heber, is what I would guess.
Oh yeah, good point. You never saw that bus driving through Utah though back in the day? I don't remember.
No, because he sent him the other direction,
bus?
right?
Yeah.
The town's packed that way. Like
Do you
ends.
Do you realize what you've done?
Yeah, name a comedy where it ends on like a joke like that. Like it's a classic, and it will always be. I've even made my oldest boy watch it. So
nice. Well, what I will say is to anybody that's still listening, congratulations.
And what are the odds someone is still listening?
Well, probably 1,000,000 to 1.
So you're saying there's a chance.
But I will say you're going to have to excuse my friend here. He's a little slow. But yeah, that's Dumb and Dumber, one of the greatest comedies ever. And do we give it the title? Is this the best movie ever filmed in Utah?
Oh, well, that's a good question. We'll have to figure that one out. I would say it's definitely the top runner right now.
It's the best one we've reviewed so far.
Well, that's a good question. So let us know if you're still listening. The 1 in a million chance that you're still listening. If you think there's a better movie that was filmed here in Utah. Or, for that matter, tell me a movie that's funnier than Dumb and Dumber.
Yes.
There's a lot of funny movies, and I'll give you credit. There's a lot of good movies out there. A lot of funny movies, but from beginning to end, pound per pound, is there a better movie as comedy goes than Dumb and Dumber? And I would argue that there is not.
I side with you, Nate.
So let us know what your thoughts are. Yeah,
and tell us which movie we need to cover next. We really we kind of been so far going off on our own, choosing our own places, but we'd really like some feedback to know what places we need to cover. Granted, we're still not up to that point. Still April. We're still not open here in Utah. Everything's closed.
Yes.
But
so keep that in mind. That's part of the reason we did the Dumb and Dumber episode now, is that it's hard to go visit other places since the most places are not open right now. So
yeah,
if there's a place that you think we need to talk about, another movie filmed here in Utah that we should talk about, a location we can visit while being on lockdown, let's talk about it. Or if you just want to let us know if you think Carol Baskin killed her husband, let us know.
Yes. All right. Well, thanks for listening to the This Is a Place podcast.
Big hopes, huh? Well, see you later.